Aren't you all excited? I'm wearing a white shirt, and I think this thing is from like Baby Gap. It's so damn tight. But anyway, I'm doing a haircut today on this mannequin, and you're probably gonna say to yourself, Salon Guy, this mannequin literally has perfect hair ready. It's got a slick back. It's got something like, I want this hairstyle. Well, you know, I think what's trending right now is having a lot more length on the sides, but then a somewhat balanced top. So it's not like tons longer on top and tons of disconnection. It's actually a very balanced haircut. I keep seeing that more and more as a trend. So this is what we're doing today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get started. I'm gonna start with using 25 spray, and 25 spray is really an essential product that is great for leaving the hair a bit moisturized. It's got 25 benefits to it, and it's an amazing cutting lotion as well. So if you're a professional, this is something that's gonna help get rid of knots and allow you to kind of get through the hair very quickly. So for this haircut, believe it or not, I'm actually liking the length throughout the back here. So I'm not gonna do a whole ton as far as cutting the back length because I like exactly where it's at. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna create a section though and create somewhat of a division point here that separates the front from the back. And that's gonna help give me a really clear picture on how I'm gonna go about shaping and styling this for this haircut in particular. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to start to work in the shape from where I think the hair may be at its longest point that needs to be trimmed. So it's about a finger's length apart. And what I'm gonna do now is just literally go throughout the entire back of the head and cut everything to where it's about a finger's length apart. And what I'm doing is more of a kind of condensed cutting technique where I'm just combing the hair and pulling it out and cutting it. I'm not like taking 19 sections, and I think, you know, if you're a professional watching this, you know, having clear sectioning is great, but I can literally cut the entire back of the head compared to what I see, you know, a lot of people taking so much time to create these like pieces of art just to section the damn hair. Like, let's go. We gotta get through it. And especially if you're somebody who has, you know, booked clients like nonstop every half an hour, you don't want to spend 25 minutes sectioning the hair. So just get it out of the way. If you're, you know, a consumer watching this, this is really more about understanding that, you know, you can really wear this haircut as a more trending style. You know, can you explain this to your professional? I mean, I guess, you know, you can show them this video. Sometimes people may get like offended or defensive about it. You know, I always suggest just taking a screenshot, because if they can't cut hair or create a shape based off of an image, then there's something obviously wrong, right? There's something wrong that they don't understand how to go about doing that. So that's really more on them. So what I'm doing is I'm really just going across. And if you are trying to follow along at home, or you're cutting someone else's hair, you know, using this technique, I'm literally just pulling the hair finger's length apart and just working in kind of diagonal sections going like this. Okay, I like to work in diagonal sections sometimes just because it allows me to have a different perspective. This way when I go back and I check everything, I can check it in a variety of different ways that I think will help me and help cross-check the haircut to make sure it's very, very even and balanced, right? And that's why I think sometimes when you section the hair too much and have like 19 different clips in the head and this and that, it actually prohibits you, you know, because you're so hooked and stuck on that. That's all you're thinking about, right? When in reality, if you can get through this much quicker and much more efficiently and kind of condense your cutting a bit more and just blast through it while still maintaining, you know, good form, good posture, and a good quality haircut, then you're gonna be in good shape. All right, so now you can see I've pretty much finished the back for the most part. And what I'm doing now is I'm literally just combing the hair straight out from the head, and I'm keeping note of where I'm cutting this. Again, now it's slightly longer than finger length, right? It's about maybe like 2 finger lengths as far as like the length from out of the head. But I'm cutting upwards and I'm following the pattern of how the hair grows, which is out from the head, right? Now some hair grows, in a circle. Some of you have a swirl or a calic or something that, can be a bit challenging to work with. I feel that that sometimes may be a challenge, but at the same time, if you know how to style hair and you know how to work with hair, then it may not necessarily be much of a challenge, to be honest with you, because you just kind of incorporate that into the look and into the style. So now I'm going to push this out of the way. So it's a lot of cutting and pushing out of the way, cutting and pushing out of the way. It's literally going to save you 25 minutes in your haircut from having to go back in and, add clips, remove clips. It's just something I think is a lot more helpful. What I do spend more time on is combing and moving and manipulating the hair so that it falls the right way and that we are going to be in good shape and a lot more balanced. All right, so I'm now pretty much done with the back. And, what I like to do is, before I move on to the next section, I'll go in and just, again, now I'm going more vertically. Now I'll go a bit more horizontally just to double check and make sure that everything is even Steven. And that's the benefit of doing this kind of technique, is that you're making sure that you're cutting it one way, but then you cross-check it the opposite way. All right, so now it's time to work into the top area. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect this into this. Very, 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 very important. And how do you do that? Well, you comb the hair straight out from the head. There's the shortest piece from before, which is right there. That's the shortest piece, that little area right here. Okay, and now you can see we're blending and connecting the top. Connecting and blending the top or the back into the top is really, really essential. The way you want to cut hair and to make life so much easier and not so damn confusing is you want to cut from the top, the corners, and the sides, and I'll show you that in a second. But what I'm doing is I'm really trying to stay stationary in this one area right in through here. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll just go back right here and check to make sure that this part right here is blended even better. So it's like, even though I cut this already, I like to just go back and make sure it's perfectly blended and that we're okay to move forward. So this part is done in through here. Now it's time to, and I'm gonna do one more section right here going vertically, because I just want to be clear. I want to be sure myself. So you can see there's the shorter hair, and now what we're doing is working forward this way. This is going to ensure that we have a solid connection going from the back into the top. All right. Remember, we've already cut that hair back here, so there's no need to keep focusing on that. So now that we have our middle part, our middle area that we cut, meaning this particular section, now we can actually work towards the front. All right, now let's get a little bit closer here. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to comb this horizontally, and we're going to go center, corners, and sides. Center, corners, and sides. All right, here we go. I take a horizontal section right across, and I'm going to stand right behind this. I'm going to pull this straight up, make sure that my elbow on this side is parallel. It's not like way down like this, because what happens is, look, the hair dips. Or if it's too high, you're going to cut short to long. You want to make sure it's even Steven. All right. So once again, combing this straight up, make sure the elbow is in a good position, and then we're going to cut. Any hair that falls out of this perimeter, that's going to be considered the corner, and we'll end up cutting that when we're ready to cut the corners. So this is something that I find also very important. As we are working towards the front of the head, all right? As we're working towards the front of the head, what I want to make sure is that I am keeping very consistent as far as pulling the hair straight up. If I start to over direct and pull back, it's going to leave the hair longer in the very, very front. And for this particular look, I'm not looking for that. What I'm looking for is a very balanced shape, and you'll see why when we're done cutting, okay? A very balanced shape. So I'm not over directing and pulling this. If you want to leave the front longer, wherever you pull back and cut, that's where it's going to stay. So I'm combing it straight out from the head, all right? Not back, because if I comb up, it's going to over direct it. I'm combing it out from the head, and I'll show you a great technique on how to blend that. But you can see now we've got all of this in through here. All right, now I mentioned before the corners. The top is done, and now it's time to work into the corners. And where is that? That's where the head rounds out right in through this area. Okay, next section. There it is. There's the guide, and all we're doing is connecting this part. The majority of my haircuts, I would say, it doesn't matter, male, female, I'm rounding out the shape and cutting it to follow the way the hair grows out from the head. Me personally, I think that that grows out the best, and it's also going to give the hair a more natural shape. If you go and get your hair cut, and sometimes somebody will cut it like, oh, I'm cutting it very square, or you hear like men, every short haircut for men has to be square. I don't necessarily agree with that, simply because I think, you know, that's not the right haircut for everybody, all right? So here we go. Now we're going into the sides. So once again, top, corners, and sides. The sides is the sides. And that's why I like to keep it very, very simple. And there we go. It makes life so much easier. We're literally just following the most, you know, simple pattern you can you can imagine, right? This is kind of like a really good blueprint on how to cut a very consistent haircut, because everything is mapped out and laid out for you. Okay, so I will, right in through here, I will go down and reach just a little bit lower, right in through here, and I'll also perform some scissor over comb in a second, just to make sure this is all balanced and blended. So right in this corner, don't forget this corner right behind the ear, make sure that is cut as well. All right, so even though I like how it's looking, I like how this whole shape is looking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in now and just do a little bit of scissor over comb. And how do we do that? Well, we just lift it straight up like this. And all this is doing is just lightly tapering this one area right here. Again, I'm trying to keep most of this very, very balanced, and I'm not looking to create like a lot of like different lengths and disconnections. But all this is doing is just a somewhat quick way to cross-check everything and make sure it's all balanced and make sure that there's no like super long hairs right around this ear area. And that's it. I'm not looking to do like a number 2 skin fade around here. I want to actually keep somewhat of a messy look into here, as you can see. All right, let's bring this over slightly right in this side here. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to focus on this area right in through here. And there's that little disconnected part that we need to blend and cut to make sure this is all balanced and even. And we should be seeing something that flows into this side. And I'm going to bring this down because we haven't cut the base here. And this will create a little bit of a gap for the most part. But that's where you go back in at the end and you fix and you finish that haircut. So, all right, now we're going to do the corners on this side. So I'm literally standing in the same spot. I haven't moved. I'm not throwing my arms way over the top here. I'm literally just combing this out and following the roundness of the head. I'm literally cutting now upwards, as you can see. A lot of times, if you put yourself, like your body, in a really awkward position, that's just going to make life so much more difficult, and you're gonna strain your back. And I see stylists do this all the time where they lean all the way over and they're cutting down, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that looks painful. So you don't need to do that. Turn the client, that's what the chair swivels for and moves. So you can spin them, spin them around so that they're facing you, and you have an easier time with your body and your hand positioning and body positioning. All right, once again, top, corners, and sides. Now we're working on the sides right in this area, and I just finished this one part. I'm just gonna go down a little bit lower in through here because there's, you know, sometimes you have to go like sides, meaning like around the ear, because that, you know, what that does sometimes is it cuts the hair here, but not like directly behind the ear. So once again, I'm not looking to create like a super skin tight fade or anything crazy like that. This is all done by hand, as you can see. Here comes the scissor over comb. I'm gonna comb this straight out like this. And I'm just gonna kind of lift right here. And I'm just looking for any sort of parts in the haircut that just need a little connecting and blending. Sometimes usually right around behind the ear. But you can see I'm holding the comb straight out like this, and I'm just lifting and checking in the comb itself to see where the hair is connected. Okay, if you want to cut around the ear, you can, but I don't suggest going all the way around the ear. I suggest just doing like, you know, almost leaving it so it covers part of the top of the ear, just like that. All right, now for the very front. I know a lot of you are like, oh, I want to see the front part. Yes. So what happens is when you cut these corners sometimes, this will be shorter and this will be shorter, and this is where you connect the top. And how do you do that? Well, let's stand right in front. You want to look and see where the hair connects and matches up with the other part. And then we can go in and trim that and balance it out. And there you can see those little longer pieces right there. All right, and then I'm going to comb this straight down this way. And look, now we have a perfectly even kind of balanced haircut. But what I want to do now is we're not done yet because this is a very, very important part. Okay, what am I going to do now? I'm actually going to connect this. So the nose area is facing me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb this straight out this way. And I'm going to cut that little piece right there that was a little bit longer. So think like you're creating like a mohawk section on the entire top. And what does this do? It just actually connects and blends everything the proper way, and it shows how well your haircut is balanced. All right, that's all this is. It's really to be used as a guide, because if your hair, like your haircut, is really, you know, uneven, Steven, then you're going to see a lot of issues, and you're going to have to want to blend that in, right? And what this is also doing is it's making sure that the hair is not too heavy in the very, very front. So you can have all that length there, but the problem is it may just be too heavy, and I'm going for a haircut that needs to be like really, really, really balanced, all right? Again, you may think, yeah, I can get this haircut like anywhere I go. It's a very balanced, you know, easy, simple haircut. However, you know, what I'm doing is trying to put a lot of shape into this to make sure that it can be worn in a variety of different ways. All right, so now I'm going to go back here and just check this because I felt like that one part was a little bit longer, which it is. And what's going to happen, like the more you cut hair, you're going to be able to look for certain things. You're going to be able to, you know, if the hair's not laying properly, you should be able to spot it like relatively quickly. And it could be like one piece, right? It could be one piece, could be one section. Doesn't mean that your hair cutting sucks, or, you know, and again, I don't know who really necessarily is watching this. If you're a professional watching this, then I'm hoping you're going to get a lot of value from just hair cutting in general. If you're a consumer and you're watching this trying to cut hair at home, you know, I always say do it at your own risk. You know, it's taken me over 30 years to understand hair cutting and get to this point. So again, do it at your own risk. All right, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my shears and I'm gonna do a little point and cut where I'm just gonna go in and point like this. I'm gonna point cut and I'm just gonna add a little bit of texture. Nothing too crazy, a little bit of texture, and I'm gonna kind of look and feel to where I think the hair may need a little bit of softness or a little bit of texture, and I'm just slide cutting. Once again, this is something that's more advanced. Do this at your own risk, but this is gonna help add a little bit of movement to the hairstyle. All right, let me just brush this off here. And now we're going to blow dry the hair. And you're gonna see how this is all gonna come together when I blow dry this. So I'm gonna be using my Tidal Wave right here, Tidal Wave sea salt spray. This is my #1 best-selling product right here. I'm actually updating the design. This is, I'm not a fan of this. It was actually done wrong, but I'm having this redone with an amazing new design. Same product, same great, qualities of it. Maybe a minor little tweak here and there. 3 sprays, 4 sprays, that's it. You don't need a whole bunch. Now I'm gonna use my blow dryer, which is this blow dryer right here, the Ionic technology dryer, which you can fold. Because of you, and I can't thank you enough for buying this dryer, because I want to make a really good, high quality, affordable dryer. I know it's not like, 10 bucks, but I invested a lot of money to have specifically the Ionic technology. It has the magnetic attachment, which it comes with, and it also comes with a diffuser, which is very, very, very helpful if you're looking to get waves in your hair. So let's grind through this. It should take 3 minutes. As you can see, I'm going full speed ahead, high, normal heat, all the way to the top. Go. All right, you can see, I think that was maybe a minute, if that. A minute long for this blow dry. Okay, let's get a little bit closer here. Now, I want you to check out, this is just my Tidal Wave product. And look at how much texture we have. Look at how, let's turn this on the side here, how much of a cool shape there is. And you're probably like, what makes it so special? But you can style this in so many ways. And once again, I think this is where things were going. So if you're somebody who's like, oh, I don't want to use, a styling product on this, as far as a post styler, do I even need that? So you can see just with Tidal Wave alone, and the way I cut this, look how nice this looks. Look how much texture this has, right? As you can see, let's get a little bit closer there. Tidal Wave, that's it, and 25 spray. It's in phenomenal condition. It's got great texture, great shape to it. And I think it's something, once again, that I'm starting to see, and it's a trend, more and more people with longer styles. Now here's another one, if you want to take this one step further, is let's just say you want to mess this up a bit. So let's kind of lift it up and make it a little bit more crazy. And then all you need to do is just lift out with the hands, and there you go. You've got a more wild hairstyle. So once again, look, that looks awesome. That looks really, really cool. I think it's something that can be worn. It's very, very cool, to be honest with you. I love this. You can use any one of my styling products, my Clutch, Excel, Clutch, Pregame, the matte paste. You can use a lot of my styling products to achieve this. And if you don't want it so messy, you could even try a different style where you bring it down a bit more in the front like this, and it's a little more disheveled a little. This is the haircut you all need in 2024. I'm telling you, and this works perfectly on straight hair. This mannequin right here has straight hair. No curl, no wave, so this works best on thick hair. If you've got fine hair, this could work too, but you need a lot of hair to do it. Just make sure that, I think again, this works best on straight hair. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoy these. I'm also doing these types of videos every Monday and Friday. Let's do some housekeeping. So Monday is a tutorial, a full length, tutorial, whatever it is, styling tips, cutting. Fridays, the same thing. During the week, I'll be posting stories. A lot of stories here on YouTube because they do pretty well. And then every Friday, I have my new show, my live show on Amazon, believe it or not. So I'll be posting some links, some posts on how you can go watch and engage with me live on Amazon every Friday. This is a really amazing opportunity. I'm so thankful. But we got to knock it out of the park. I need you guys to come watch while you can every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time on Amazon. So I'll be posting on the community tab and social media on where you can watch it. But don't forget, use code YouTube20, that's YouTube20 at shop.thesalonguy.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.